Substance use in the United States is on the rise. Recent data shows that over 46 million Americans, about 1 in 5 adults, struggled with a substance use disorder in the past year. While not everyone who uses substances will experience serious mental health issues, for some individuals, substance use can trigger something far more serious, an episode of psychosis. For those at risk, it can uncover underlying vulnerabilities or make existing mental health challenges much worse. Recognizing the warning signs early can make all the difference. In this video, I will explain the connection between substance use and early psychosis, and how healing and hope are possible with the right support. My name is Adam Bukins. I am the Medical Director at Community Services Group and have been with the company since 2011. I provide psychiatric services to our adolescent school-based partial hospital program and the adolescent residential program. I also run an outpatient clinic where I see children, adolescents, and young adults. I do what I do because I love helping others feel better, work towards and achieve their goals, and seeing young people grow, overcome challenges, and reach their full potential. I have worked with numerous people struggling with psychosis across the age spectrum and in various settings during my training and career, including both inpatient and outpatient settings. Of note, I spent several years providing psychiatric care to teenagers in an adolescent inpatient substance use treatment facility. Since coming to Community Services Group, I have primarily focused my clinical work on general psychiatric care in the child, adolescent, and young adult population, which is the typical age range for the onset of psychosis in vulnerable individuals. So I see this issue arise frequently in my clinical work, and I work with and help individuals and families all the time who are dealing with such challenges. To explain what substance-induced psychosis is and how it differs from other forms of psychosis, I think it's important to know that substance use is a very common clinical issue with young people. So it is more often than not that young people with psychosis also have substance use histories. And the approach to the treatment of the psychotic symptoms may be different based on the root cause of them. So this really is a great question. Substance-induced psychosis is characterized by hallucinations, delusions, and/or disorganized thinking that are directly caused by the use of or the withdrawal from drugs, alcohol, or other toxic substances. Unlike primary psychotic disorders such as schizophrenia, which arise independently of substance use and tend to have a chronic course, substance-induced psychosis typically occurs during or shortly after the substance use and often resolves once a substance is cleared from the body. That said, sometimes it can trigger a longer-lasting psychosis in particularly vulnerable individuals. There are certainly certain types of substances that are commonly linked to triggering psychotic symptoms. Some of those substances can include cannabis, stimulants like amphetamines, methamphetamines, and cocaine, hallucinogens like LSD and psilocybin, and dissociative drugs like PCP and ketamine. Alcohol can also lead to such symptoms. Cannabis, especially the high-potency forms with THC levels exceeding 10%, has definitely been associated with an increased risk of psychosis, particularly among adolescents and individuals with a genetic predisposition to mental health disorders. Stimulants can induce paranoia, hallucinations, and delusions, with methamphetamine use being particularly linked to persistent psychotic symptoms. Hallucinogens and dissociative drugs can cause perceptual disturbances and delusional thinking, while alcohol withdrawal can lead to auditory hallucinations and something called delirium tremens. In recent years, there has been an emergence of newer psychoactive substances that has raised concerns in the field. For instance, there are synthetic cannabinoids that have been linked to psychosis, especially among adolescents, due to their potency and their legal status in some states. Additionally, other novel stimulants have been associated with psychotic episodes, complicating diagnosis and treatment. The increasing availability and potency of these substances have definitely contributed to a rise in substance-induced psychosis cases, highlighting the need for vigilant monitoring and regulation. Some people may be more vulnerable to developing psychosis after using substances due to a combination of genetic, biological, psychological, and environmental factors. Certainly, a family history of psychotic disorders such as schizophrenia would increase risk, suggesting the genetic predisposition. Early life trauma, high stress levels, and pre-existing mental health conditions such as anxiety, depression, or even ADHD can increase susceptibility to psychosis with substance use as well. Adolescents and young adults are particularly at risk due to the ongoing development of their brain's prefrontal cortex, and the type, dose, and potency of the substance, as well as the pattern of use, such as whether it's frequent and if they're binging, can also play a critical role. Repeated substance use can definitely increase the risk of psychosis over time. While some individuals may experience psychosis after a single use, especially with particularly potent drugs or high doses, ongoing or heavy use significantly raises the likelihood of recurring or more severe episodes. Chronic use can also sensitize the brain's dopamine system, which then lowers the threshold for psychotic reactions. In some cases, repeated substance-induced psychosis can evolve into a more persistent psychotic disorder, especially in individuals with underlying vulnerabilities. The cumulative risk is particularly well documented with substances like cannabis, especially those high THC strains, methamphetamine, and the various synthetic drugs on the market. Early warning signs that substance use might lead to more serious mental health issues include persistent paranoia, hallucinations, and disorganized thinking, along with intense mood swings and social withdrawal. Other red flags are a decline in daily functioning, ongoing sleep problems, repeated episodes of unusual behavior after using substances. If these symptoms don't fully resolve when someone is sober, or if the person lacks awareness that something is wrong, that certainly could indicate a deeper issue, especially in those with a family history of mental illness. Substance-induced psychosis involves hallucinations, delusions, or extreme paranoia that persist beyond the normal intoxication period of the substance and often continues after the drug has worn off. Unlike a bad reaction, which may include panic or confusion during someone's intoxication or high, or an overdose which involves physical symptoms like unconsciousness or seizures, psychosis features a clear break from reality and disorganized thinking. If these symptoms last for hours or days, especially after typical doses, it's a strong sign of a substance-induced psychosis and requires medical attention. If a loved one shows signs of psychosis after substance use, such as hallucinations, paranoia, or severe confusion, family or friends should stay calm, ensure the person is in a safe environment, and avoid confrontation or arguing with their delusions. Speak in a reassuring, non-threatening tone, and remove anything that's potentially dangerous. If the person seems agitated, unpredictable, or unable to distinguish reality, it's important to call emergency services and let the responders know that it's likely a substance-related event. Do not leave the person alone, and if possible, try to gather information about what specific substances were used to be able to share that with the medical professionals. Early, calm intervention can prevent harm and get them the care that they need. It is very important to get early professional intervention, even if the person seems better after the substance leaves their system. Temporary improvement does not rule out deeper issues. Substance-induced psychosis can be a warning sign of underlying mental health vulnerabilities or the start of a recurring pattern. Without proper assessment and follow-up, there's a higher risk of relapse, worsening symptoms, or the development of a chronic psychotic disorder. Mental health professionals can evaluate whether it's an isolated event or indeed part of a larger condition, help provide strategies for recovery, and help prevent future episodes through education, therapy, or medication if needed. Treating both the substance use and mental health together is crucial because these two issues are often deeply interconnected. Substance use can exacerbate mental health conditions and vice versa, which creates a vicious cycle where one problem fuels the other. For example, using substances to cope with anxiety or depression can lead to a substance-induced psychosis or addiction, while untreated mental health disorders can drive someone to self-medicate with drugs or alcohol. When both conditions are addressed simultaneously, treatment can be more effective as it helps break this cycle, improves overall stability, and reduces the risk of relapse. Comprehensive care, which may include therapy, medication, and various support groups, ensures that both the substance use and underlying mental health issues are managed in a balanced way. The EPIC program is designed to support young individuals who are experiencing early signs of psychosis, including those related to substance use. EPIC provides a comprehensive, multidisciplinary approach to treatment. The program includes personalized treatment plans, peer support, and resources for families and caregivers. By addressing both psychosis and substance use challenges simultaneously, EPIC aims to stabilize symptoms, improve daily functioning, and reduce the risk of long-term mental health issues. Psychosis connected to substance use doesn't have to define your future. With the right support, individuals can heal, rebuild, and find new ways to cope and thrive. Early intervention makes a difference, and the sooner someone gets connected to care, the better the outcome. To learn more about recognizing early signs, finding support, or getting connected with our EPIC program, please visit csgonline.org/EPIC. And if this video was helpful, please consider sharing it. You never know who might need to hear it today.